Hey guys, Nabil here. We have a very special guest with us today in this online interview. It's the one and only Mr. Krispy Kaiser, the community manager of SNK. Crispy, you're live.
Hello, everyone. What's going on? Krispy Kaiser. I'm the SNK community manager. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for having this opportunity. And before I start, asking you the questions, I just want to again thank you. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing as someone who was trying always to get in touch with SNK, and it was really really difficult before you joined in. So it's really can't thank you enough. I'm pretty sure. I've seen people on Twitter. People are very happy of what you're doing. So again, on behalf of everybody and all the SNK fans, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much for saying that. I'm really happy to hear that. So,
Now, I wanted to ask you a few things. So there's a lot of us, have this. So let me start with the first question. Can you tell us everything about the King of Fighters 15?
sure.
Well,
Just tell you everything. Just you want me to lay it all out?
yeah, it was worth a try. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry. My lips are sealed. Yeah.
uh, so first of all, I want to ask you. So how did you end up, living and working in Japan? As a lot of people, and especially in my younger years, it was like a dream
hmm
for people, like who were fans of anime and video games to just be in Japan, live in Japan, and work in Japan. So can you tell us a little bit
Sure.
how did you end up? So you're from the US, right? So what took you to Japan?
Okay. I mean, it's a pretty simple story. So I'd always been interested in Japan and Japanese culture for a while, and even since I was like 16, 17, and I think around 18 years old, I started learning it just kind of in my free time, Japanese. Um, and after graduating high school, I continued to do the same job, which was working in a restaurant, and I got really boring and I started to kind of look at it. No offense to any waiters out there, but I started looking at it as almost like a dead end job. I was like, man, because I'm 18, I want to explore the world. And I don't know. I was talking with a friend about it. I was like, man, I just want to do something else. And he suggested, he's like, hey, you like Japan? Why don't you? There's this farming blog, farming program that they have. You can go farm in Japan, and they'll let you live and eat there for free for in exchange for doing some like menial tasks on a ranch or whatever. So I said, okay, hey, that sounds good. It's cheap. I get to explore a little bit about Japan. Actually, get to go there. So I saved up my money, bought a plane ticket, and I did like a 3 month stay in Japan. I worked out in there was a horse farm that I went to, and it was like I took care of horses and did some gardening, and then I did a little bit of work in Tokyo, and I don't know, I loved it. Like
So at
everyone
that
was
point, were
really
you, were
nice.
you were you speaking Japanese? Like, how was your Japanese when you got there?
No, I had no idea. It was terrible. It was absolutely couldn't say anything.
Really?
I couldn't read anything. I could read like a little bit of hiragana and katakana, I think. That was it. Yeah, I didn't know any kanji. Yeah, my like the bare minimum, really. Like it was a pitiful amount. Like I
Oh, wow.
had see that during that time I didn't even have a smartphone because it wasn't a thing. Um so we had like the books, so I had like one of those translating books you had to go in through and kind of find out which word you're trying to say, and then you would point that, and there's yeah, that's just what it was like back then. But um yeah, I had no idea. But people were really super nice, and that's kind of when I decided it's like, well, I really want to come back here. So when I went back home, I enrolled in a community college to learn Japanese for 1 year, and it was really good. But when it came time to take those credits and move on to an actual university, the university I had planned on going to didn't have a Japanese language program. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to learn it in Japan. So I looked online, met with a couple people, found that there was a place that did have an intensive Japanese language course in Osaka, which is a place that I wanted to go to. I'd lived there for just a little bit while, traveling around. And so, yeah, I did 3 years of Japanese intensive course, just learning only the language. That's it. Like, that's it. So for 3 full years intensive, just,
Wow.
yeah, from like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., which isn't so bad, but then, you have to fit in work and, you have to live a little bit. And after that, I met my now wife. During that time, I went to college in Japan for an additional 4 years, which was good. That was great. And it was an actual college. It's not like a university for foreigners or anything like that. No, it's all my classmates. I was the only foreigner there. I said me and another guy about that. So, it was a real experience, and it was awesome. I'll treasure it till the day I die. But after graduated college, and it was time to look for a job. So, but that's basically up until SNK, and in that
Pretty
meantime,
cool.
I did translation work. I did it, interpreting, translation, helping out at video game events, all that kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, but that's
So,
basically it, how I got to Japan. Mhm.
and as someone who's trying to learn Japanese, like just here's my learn Japanese
There you
workbook.
go. Very nice, very nice.
So how long did it take you of studying Japanese every day to be at a point where you could have conversation, understand television basically, and be able to basically read? Because I'm not even speaking about kanji, but just being able to, communicate easily.
Man, it's really hard to say, because you're never like be 100% with whatever you say. There's always gonna be like, oh, you screwed up there, you screwed up here, you didn't really quite get what they just said. Oh, like there's always like that lingering, like, oh, I still don't get this. But I will say that after about a year, and here's the thing, you shouldn't. It's really hard to explain, because one of the things that makes, let's say, Americans a lot different from other people, or Westerners a lot different from, let's say, people in Asia like China and Korea when they go and learn Japanese, is that Westerners, even if they know like this much, they will take that and they'll stretch it out and be like, yeah, I know the language totally fine. So, you'll go to a bar and you only know this much, but goddamn, you're gonna use that to the full extent and try to create a conversation you can, and you're not gonna shy away. So you're gonna fail your way to success in a kind of sense, and that's kind of like what I did. So if they're happy, if they're laughing, then I guess we're making my point across. Like, oh, I guess this is the conversation's going well. But full true understanding came about when I was in the first year of college. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I remember specifically it just dawning on me. Like, it just hits me like, oh yeah, wait a minute. Like, I was in the library and I'm reading a Japanese newspaper, and I'm just reading it. And I'd done it before, but it's just the, you catch yourself in this moment of just, it's just a menial task. You've done it many times, but then you realize, like, holy, wait a minute, I'm in Japan. I'm reading a newspaper, and I'm like, I've done it. I'm here. Like, I'm all right. I got the language down. Like, there's no, like, that was the real like turning point. I felt like finally, like, you don't, because like you can't take every single thing you do and celebrate it, right? Like, oh, because you recognize a kanji, you recognize a word, hooray, right?
Yep.
But when you start getting dulled to that, like, okay, I should know that. Oh, okay, I remember that. Whatever. But then finally, after like this kind of just being so acclimated to it, it just hits you and be like, oh, all right, I guess I'm fluent now. Okay, all right, that's cool, hooray. So that's kind of where. So it took about 3 years to all wrap that all up. Yeah, about 3 years, to the point where I felt comfortable. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's great. Again, as someone who's trying. I mean, I tried to learn. I started, my first, try at learn Japanese was when I was 17, I believe. But that's what I learned, like hiragana and a little bit of katakana. But then
Yep.
I let it go until about, a few months now, when I'm just trying every day just to hopefully, because I was saying, but I was, as you know, I was planning to be in Japan for March. I mean, the interview was supposed to be face to face, as you know, but
Yeah.
with what's happening, things have been postponed. So I was hoping that by at least after 3 months, I would be able to, like, try to understand. I mean, I'm not going to make any conversations, but just be able to,
Get your point across.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And we talked about how you got to Japan, how, like, you learned Japanese. So how did you end up working with SNK as the community manager?
Boy, I'll tell you, it was just the stars aligned. I was extremely lucky. And I was in the right place at the right time. And so after graduating college, it's really hard to explain. I don't want to make like a whole, lifetime drama out of it, but the way that the Japanese work system works here is it's very unlike in the West, where you can apply randomly and just, it's like fishing, right? You throw out your bobber or whatever, you throw out your lure, and you just, if it bites, it bites. And you can throw out as many as you want. You just wait, right? In Japan, there's a season, and in that season, you can only apply, and you can't apply at any other season, but only that season. So if you get no hits, that's it. You got to wait another year. And they prepare you for this in college, and it starts at around your junior. When your third year in college, they're like, or actually, excuse me, you're set now. It's like your second year. They'll start saying, "Hey, you probably should start working on your interview, decorum, because there's a decorum. There's a process that goes into the interview. You just can't come in and shake hands and be like, "Hey, how's it going? My name's John." Like, you have to you have to have your hands in the right place. You don't have the middle of your back touch the seat. No. You don't want to have that. You want to be sitting up you have to go through that training.
Oh, wow.
Yo, it's tough. It's absolutely tough.
Sounds like it.
You never want to have your pen in your pocket. You don't do that. Things like that. There's a lot of rules that you have to knock twice.
Do these rules really affect, like, if you're gonna get, let's say you're great, you have everything that they asked for, but because of these, manners, I would say you could not get that job. Is that serious, or is it just more of like you being considered or being respectful? Or is it really gonna affect?
Everyone's human, and they'll overlook a couple things, right? But it really comes down to how you answer some of the questions, and shows if you're prepared and you really want to like work there. If you come really not prepared and you're kind of just like, you're hanging out in this seat like this, and they're going to be like, oh, this guy, I don't know if he really wants to work here. It gives off a really bad impression. Okay. And that's what you want. That you want to make a good impression. You want people to, remember you and recognize you. And it shows that you fit in the hole really well, right? Because that's where, the company has this little position for you, and can you fit right in? Because that's what they're looking for. And then once you're in, once you get the job, then you can kind of mellow out a little bit. You can start putting your elbows and your the armrest of your chair. But until then, you really got to show that you're committed, you're tight, you're to the schedule, and you stick by the rules. So I'd gone through that training, and I tried applying out of college, and it was terrible. I applied to 90 places, and it's because I was a new graduate. It was a catch-22 type thing where they wanted to see experience, and I didn't have experience. So they're like, well, too bad, and so I moved to Tokyo with the wife and continued looking for jobs there, and it didn't go well. And then one day I saw Josh Weatherford, who works, it's kind of like my how do you call that? Not my boss, but what do you senpai kohai in English? I wouldn't say upperclassman, but he's above me, right? Yeah. And he made a post. He's like, "Hey, we're looking for like a community manager," on Twitter, and I saw that, and I was like, "Hey, I've done streaming before. I've done community events." It's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I immediately applied. And he messaged back and he's like, okay, let's go through the process. So I had to go through like 3 interviews, and I was in Tokyo. So the first 2 were, I think, online. And the third one, I actually had to go in there and meet up with like the big boss. And so yeah, I had to do the, and that's when it came in. Like, I'm sweating bullets, right? Because up until now, I just haven't been getting anything. They're not even like looking at my resume. But I finally got a chance, and there are other people that are applying. Of course, other people there, but at the end of the day, it's just they saw something in me, and you know, and the rest is history. I've been working there for more than a year now, so that's basically it.
Oh, pretty cool. And now, like, so you're working at a Japanese company, and a lot of people online, like, I mean, they've seen his stories online or heard from someone or whatnot that just like it's really different working at Japanese companies. Like the work condition, and I mean, they're not bad, but I mean, just like it's a lot of work. Not like it's just completely different from a Western company, and sometimes you hear more that it's in a bad way than it's a good way. So now you're working there. Like, what can you tell us about that? I mean, is it like some truth to how like strict they are compared to, again, Western companies, or is it just just people over exaggerating?
No, it's great. It's amazing. It's probably the best experience I've had yet, and I'm continuing to have. It's just kind of astounding. Like, so I work on the 5th floor, and it's the development floor. So all the game development goes on that floor for like the big titles, right? Um, and work gets out at 6, and people are going home. There's no crunch. My first day there, I'm trying to make a good impression, and I was like, okay, let me stay late, and they were telling me to get out because I was going to be the last person there, and it's 7 p.m. So
Oh,
they're like, you have to go home now. And I'm like, but wait, it's my first day. I wanna make. They're like, it's nobody's here. You have to go home now. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. And so yeah, and it's always been like that. And it's really, the thing is, there's a lot of onus. Like, you have to, when you say you're gonna do something, just do it, right? And set up, because people are like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Well, what plans do you have? And I think that's the hard part, is creating an effective schedule that is specific and concise and detailed, showing like, I want to do this. What can I get from this? What's the mission? What's the outlook? What's the goal? Having that all really precise, and then presenting that, I think, is kind of tough. It's tough for me, because it's one thing to just be like, yeah, I want to do this thing, and it's another thing to put that into action, because you can't just like, I represent the company, right? So I can't just be like, yeah, all right, let's talk about King of Fighters 16, right? Like, without even like, who cared? Like, just not even, just ignoring everybody upstairs. Like, there is a 16. Or let's
can we
talk
do that?
about,
Can we do that
yeah,
though?
16. Yeah, let's go right over 15. Things like that. Like, obviously I have to answer to other people upstairs, so you can't just go off on your own. So with that, yeah, in the very beginning, there is like a system that you do have to follow. And it's just about having that being able to properly explain what you want to do, and get that permission and go forth. That's kind of what it is in Japanese companies. And one of the things that Japan gets kind of bashed for is that it's very, like, there are a lot of checkpoints you have to go through if you want to do something. But you represent a company. You can't just go off and type whatever you want, right? Or go off and start making plans. And so I don't know if any other people are really. It's not really a usual company, I guess, because we have a product that we're trying to sell, and it's always like we're online all the time. At least I am on Twitter, and not everything is checked, but I don't know. The people that I work with have just been great, really understanding. We've gone drinking. and it's quite close. We could talk. I could message them basically at any time, 11 p.m. And if I have something that I'm dealing with, I need help with, and it's great. And now, even that we're working from home, it's incredible. There's a lot of freedom there. They're like, hey, well, I know you're working from home, but do you want to stream? I was like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And so they helped me out with that. So
Cool. Cool. I was gonna ask you about that now with this whole pandemic going on, and a lot of a lot of countries that are under lockdown, including Japan to a certain extent. So how is that affecting the work on from at SNK?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to deal with the punches as they come, right? It's I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and be like, oh, it's great, never been better. Obviously there are going to be some slowdowns, for the simple fact that communication wise, right? It's not going to be as quick. So that right there is going to put a damper on some kind of development time in some areas of game development, right? So, because I mean, in the office, you could just turn around. Like when I'm translating, let's do let's say patch notes, right? If I'm translating and I don't get a word, I can go over to I have one of the developers right there. I'm like, hey, what's this do? What's this mean right here? What does this mean in this context? I can just confirm right there. Boom. 0 seconds. But now I have to look, and I have to type it out and make sure Japanese is correct. It's like, okay, this word I got to confirm. And then I have to excuse myself and be like, oh, are you busy right now? And then I have to wait for them to reply. They could be gone. They could be busy. And that's just me. That's just me with another person. So I can imagine if you have 100 people that have to possibly do that it could definitely slow down some things. But that being said, we're rolling with it. Where it's, from what I understand, they're picking up the pace. It's we're kind of getting used to it now. We've been doing it for over a month now, so.
And you guys have it's also been extended for a few weeks as well over there, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, well, unfortunately for me, because I do prefer the office. I do prefer working in the office, but my job is relatively easy. I'm on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Discord. I can do that from the office, no problem. But if you're an artist, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
So. And but they're just doing the best that they can. And that's really, really what it is. But the fact that, I really cannot stress how thankful I am, though, because SNK took it very seriously. I think we were one of the first video game companies to just yep, all right, everyone's working from home. March, what was it?
Early March.
20th or so. Nope, that's it, working from home now. And I thought it was a joke. I was like, all right. I was okay, so I'll see you guys next week, I guess. And they're like, well, no, we're all going to be working from home now. So I wasn't taking it seriously, but the company did. And, it's just great. I get to keep my job, and I'm super grateful. I have a kid, have a wife, so I'm able to support them and work from home. So as much as I want to kick and shout and be like, I want to be back in the office, I really can't stress enough that, yeah, it's worked out great. And so I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Great. And now before joining SNK, were you familiar? You're a gamer, so you play a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a fan of the SNK games, or were you familiar with them before joining the company?
So I'm not going to lie, right, to everyone and say oh yeah, I loved fighting games, because unfortunately growing up, the people that I was with, the people that I ran around with, we never played fighting games ever. It was just not a thing. So unfortunately, King of Fighters, I'd known about it, but not really any, no, don't know the names of the people, didn't know anything. They're run and gun games though. So Metal Slug though, I was a big Metal Slug fan, even growing up. I had the Metal Slug anthology for the Wii when that came out. I bought that first day, and that was fun. And there was a Metal Slug game that they came out for on PlayStation 1 that I had as well, and I enjoyed that. So that series I'd known quite a bit. But in terms of their fighting games, yeah, I was completely new to it. So when I came on board, I had a lot of studying to do. And that's kind of why I started, Get Good Kaiser in Kaiser Wave. So to get acclimated, because this is a real, SNK isn't just fighting games. And I want people to really understand that it's not just fighting games. There's a lot of other IPs that we have. But it is a big section of SNK's titles. And it's something that you can't just, pull up a Wikipedia and read about, right? You have to kind of experience it. So that's what I've been doing in my spare time and on stream, is playing through a whole of SNK's fighting games, or a good amount. Yeah.
Cool. Now I wanna just shift to some other questions that I know a lot of people would want asking. Now, the first one I want to talk about is the rollback netcode updates that you guys have been doing for the old titles. So on like we just had Last Blade 2, which works really good, as well as we had Samurai Showdown 5, and we also, I mean, the first game that had rollback netcode in the SNK library was King of Fighters 97. And then, of course, we had the update for Garu Mark of the Wolves, and now Last Blade 2. And people are really happy about that. So can you tell us a little bit, like, how did this happen? Because my understanding, I remember when Code Mystics released the King of Fighters 97, a lot of people were like, hey, guys, can you just update all the other games with this awesome netcode? And I remember them answering that, like, we can't just do that. It has to be done by SNK. So what pushed you guys to go and request change in a game that has been released for a few months or a couple of years even?
Well, it's we have a team that kind of works and is working on different like projects for SNK. It's an internal team, and these, after months and months and meetings and planning, they kind of decide, like, okay, well, what are we going to do with some of the older games here? There are some games that were released that the little something is to be desired from them. They weren't released in the best form that everyone would celebrate, because when you release a game, especially for a company like SNK, you want it to be kind of like a celebration. It's like, hooray! Even though it's an older game, you want people to relive that experience, and it should be a fun experience and fun time for everyone. And we felt that some of the games that had been released prior didn't really live up to their potential. And so we have a team internally that looked over some of these games, and they thought it over, and there was budgeting, and there were meetings that went back and forth, and they decided to, all right, let's first start off with making the King of Fighters 97 global match. And they brought that to Steam and PS4 and Vita with rollback netcode. And that went well. It went really well. And I understand, obviously, like, you're always going to get people that say, okay, what about King of Fighters 98 or 2000 or 2002? And you're going to get that no matter what. And that's a good thing. I feel like that's a really good thing, because people are saying, hey, here are these things we want. Like, make it. So it's good. As long as people are saying that, like, I'm happy. If they're saying, we don't want to play anymore, like SNK games, that's like, that'd make me cry. But people are still saying, like, hey, we want 98, we want these other games, then that it gives us a really kind of clear indication, like, okay, this is a good thing. People want these games. But it's their feedback. It's the user feedback. Every time we release something, we look at the feedback. We look at what people are saying. People have this impression that it's going on deaf ears. Whatever they say, SNK is not listening. But I'm here and I'm listening, and I see that I see those posts, and I see what people are saying, and I know that team. And of course, it's my job. It's my duty to be like, hey, this is a good idea. You probably should, work on something like this. And it's, it's not as easy as being like, yeah, all right, let's do it. There obviously there has to be that back and forth of, okay, well, what can we expect from this? Is it worth it? Can we do this? There are some things like, okay, for example, what is it? King of Fighters 12? I think it's King of Fighters 12 or 11. People wanted that ported. I think it's only on PlayStation 2.
11.
I'm not. Yeah. 11, yeah, okay. And it's a great game, but NeoWave, I think that was the company that had made it. So, like,
Yeah.
Is it?
Because
Yeah, and so
there was the King of Fighters Neo Wave, and then there was the King of Fighters 11, and 11 is one of the most requested
it is.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so there's that, we already have these other games on there, which is great. And we had to go back, and obviously there has to be development costs that go into actually like implementing this netcode and making it better. And I see that people want it, but now we'd have to get games that aren't even ported yet. So there's a whole nother like layer on top of that. And I mean, my goal, obviously, my dream is to have every single SNK game eventually available on modern consoles. Like even like and this is like, even if this takes me 30 years, even the RPGs, what is it? King of Fighters Kill.
That would
Even
make
having
a lot
those.
of people happy, by the way,
Yeah.
including myself. I finished that game. I played it, and I finished it, and I didn't understand any Japanese. So how much I love that game, as
It's
well
such
as
a
Samurai Showdown
unique,
RPG.
it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like seeing gameplay of it's like so unique and just a very weird spin on it. And I love it. But people want to see those games, and it's just I understand there's that people are like, give us 98 now, or give us 2002, or like, they want a redone version of 2002. And I see those. Yeah, obviously I see those comments, and they know it's about timing, it's about planning, and you can't, as you guys know, you can't rush these things. You really can't. And you've seen it before in some of the other ports. You can't do it because we live in a time now where something's rushed. Boy, you're gonna find out about it real quick. And so we have to take our time. And I don't know what they have planned right now. Again, I'm not part of that team. My job is to take everyone's feedback and bring it to them. And so what they decide to do with it is up to them. All right. Well, if they want to say, all right, let's move forward and let's get these games and let's put this netcode in there, 100% up to them. And likewise, if they say, nah, we're going to do it with this other kind of netcode, you guys are there, you're going to see it, you're probably going to give your feedback, and then my job is to give that feedback right back to them. So
That's a really good thing. I get a lot of questions. Like when I post, like for example, when I posted the video about the Last Blade 2, a lot of people like, hey, could you tell SNK that we want the rollback netcode on Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters 13, and my answer was that they probably know that we want those things. I mean, and as you said, you confirmed that you actually relay that information, so they know we want better netcode for such and such game. So it's just a matter of maybe matter of time, a matter of technicalities, but SNK knows.
Yeah, and it's again, we live and die by the fans, and you guys are our biggest. You've supported us through 30 years, NeoGeo, right? So you've supported us through 40 years of SNK being around, and it would make no sense to just like not listen to the community and the feedback. So just that's one of the things we just asked is just keep supporting us. Where we have, as you just saw, there was a new announcement yesterday. So we have NeoGeo Pocket Color version of King of Fighters with Gals Fighters. So that's coming out. Surprise, surprise. There was a little bit of a small leak. So some people probably knew about the Gals Fighters. But
I wanted to ask you about that, and good thing you brought it, because on the tweet it doesn't mention the platform, but we're still talking about the Nintendo Switch, right?
I don't think it's been officially confirmed yet. So I'll refrain from that one.
All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, so it's I'm looking forward to it because I don't know if any of you have the pre-order bonus for Samurai Showdown for the Switch, but Samurai Showdown ! 2 for the NeoGeo Pocket Color is a great fighting game. So fun. I had a blast playing it. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this one too.
Cool. There's also an announcement that you guys are finally gonna give us some more information about Samurai Showdown Reflection. So that was finally, very happy to see.
It's like a weight is coming off my chest too. Yeah. I really wanted to. I get so many questions about it, and it's just I can't say. I have to wait for official guidance to be like, yes, now we can talk about it. So, um, yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. And if you're a Samurai Showdown fan, this is it. Like, you got to pick it up, right?
Yeah,
Because
we can't wait for more information. Hopefully, a trailer soon.
yeah.
But
Ooh, oh, I'm getting all emotional. It's gonna be good. You guys are gonna really enjoy
good.
it. We've really
Glad
worked, yeah,
glad to
our
hear that.
asses
Now,
off.
speaking about Samurai Showdown, we're in the midst of season 2. We just had
That's
Sogetsu
right.
Kazama released, a couple weeks ago. Well, not a few weeks ago,
Yep.
but a lot of people are asking about Iroha.
Okay.
I mean, you got a chance to see her in motion. Personally speaking, I've never been a big fan of Iroha, but I know
Yeah.
she's huge fan favorite. So, what can you tell us about her? I mean, I know you can't tell us when it's being released, right? Because a lot of people want to know if it's coming out. Obviously it's not this month; it's almost finished. But
Yeah.
so what can you tell us about Iroha and Samurai Showdown, new Samurai Showdown?
Oh boy. I mean, there's a lot to say. She looks great. That was one of the things that I was really worried about. Um, is because the current climate, character like Iroha is not taken too kindly around here. And so I was like worried. I was like, oh boy, are they gonna tone her down? I'm like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then I saw the video, I saw her, seen her in gameplay, and it's just like so good. So good. She looks great. Looks fantastic. Super excited. They really killed it. Very fast, just like in 6. And I think that's one of the things, like, man, 6 was such like a combo fighter. It's such a, like a weird to
Yep.
think like that was Samurai Showdown. It's very
Yeah.
weird. But yeah, so she's gonna be doing a lot of hits. She's not like your like a Wanfu type, right? Yeah. So she's gonna have a very kind of familiar play style. If you've played as Iroha before, it's gonna feel right at home. She looks great too, and she's very graceful looking. It's gonna be really nice. Hopefully, I think we might be releasing some news about that really soon, really
Oh,
really
cool.
soon. So
Okay, cool. Glad
yeah,
to hear.
definitely look forward to it. It's a must buy. I think
All right.
so. I'm
All right.
super. I'm just really happy that she got made. So
Cool. And you mentioned before the NeoGeo, celebrating its 30th anniversary. Now, the games that you mentioned, SNK Gauss Fighters and the Samurai Showdown NeoGeo collection, I seem like part of that celebration. So, what can you tell us? I mean, is SNK planning to celebrate this? And I mean, is this the only thing we're gonna get for the 30th anniversary, or you guys have planned a lot of things that obviously you can't discuss, but just want to know if there's more coming for celebrating the 30th anniversary of NeoGeo.
ooh, that's just gonna have to wait and see.
All right.
Just gonna have to wait and see for that. Yeah, I can't really go into too much. So yeah, just stay tuned for more
All
updates
right.
on
Sounds
that.
good. Now, next question um, is King of Fighters 15. I know you can't talk about it, but a lot of people are really anxious. People were hoping to see a trailer back in Evo Japan. Then they said, hey, probably going to be the SNK WCS finals. Of course, that didn't happen. Evo now is probably not going to happen. I would be surprised if it happens. So, what can you tell people who are really looking forward to get the slightest information about the King of Fighters 15?
Yeah, it's boy, this is tough. I really can't obviously talk too much about it. It is being made. So that's one of the things. Like they were like rumors that it's not being made, or like we're putting it like it's certainly being made. I've seen it being play tested, so it exists. But it's just when we're ready, when it's at a point where we're ready to disclose to the public, then we will. And this is your baby, and really, I don't want to say that maybe, we're a little spooked from 14 because the initial, reaction to it wasn't the best,
Yeah.
looking
And that's
back.
the
And
thing, because remember when King of Fighters 14 was announced, boy, the backlash was crazy. People were mad,
yeah,
and then everybody was saying, "Man, they should have waited until they showed." But now they said, "No, we want to see King of Fighters 15
yeah,
now." So it's
I would rather it be polished and looking good and really wow the audience, but come at a later time, then missing that crucial and just like that first impression is just kind of falling flat. That is kind of where I feel. So I think patience here is really important. We have our best in the company making this game, treating it with the most respect. It's going to be like, almost like our flagship title here. And, it's just when it's ready, we'll have a trailer, we'll have a video for you guys. But until that point, yeah, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer. So unfortunately, I can't say, who's going to be in it, what's happening with the story. All of that is completely, yeah, of course, it's, my lips are sealed. But yeah, just definitely look forward to it. It's going to be great. And so we're
Cool.
going to make sure it's going to be great. So
That's pretty awesome. Something we're talking about King of Fighters and story. I mean, King of Fighters always had. It's one of the few fighting games that actually has a pretty good story compared to like other games. I mean, like Street Fighter. I love Street Fighter, but the story is really nothing. I mean, it doesn't never changes. That much same thing over and over. King of Fighters more as a big focus on story, and we always. I mean, since the '90s, man, since the first game, I always wanted to hopefully have like an anime series about the King of Fighters, and
yeah.
we got sort of that with the King of Fighters Destiny, but it was just the first season, and then there's nothing else. I mean, what can you tell us? I mean, anything about like does SNK believe in this property being adapted into other medium? I mean, they already have the great manga running right now, but I mean, like in
Mm-hmm.
terms of anime, like can you tell us anything about that?
I mean, I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. I don't really know much if there's anything in the works right now. Um,
My understanding
but
is
it
a
just
different part of SNK, correct? That deals with this kind of
we
media.
so we have, yeah, there's SNK Entertainment, and but we work on the video games mostly. Where I'm situated, it's all video game development. So anything like the manga, completely different, like completely different. If it's like collabs or anything like that, like so the game only games is where I'm associated with. So if there are meetings and they are thinking of doing like an anime or stuff, that I don't even that would go way over my head. So I wouldn't have any idea about any of that. Like I come into that stuff super late. By the time it gets to my hands, I'm basically finding out at the same time that you guys are, because it's completely different branch. They basically skip me if they want to like announce it. Like they go directly to like the full what is it, the official channels. Um, and that could be a good thing because loose lips sink ships. I shouldn't know too much, right? So I guess it's for my safety as well. But for example, like what is it, King of Fighters for Girls, no idea that was getting released until like the day. And so it was great. I was like, oh, this is sick. I was happy, but I didn't know that was going to be a thing. um I don't even think that's developed internally too. It was just,
Yeah.
outsourcing the IPs and be like, hey, let's put a kind of spin on these fun characters. Um, so yeah, if there is something, maybe there is, but I am like the last person you want to ask because I'm not going to have any idea, unfortunately. But if it's down to video games, then I know. Yeah, basically. So the things that people like to consume, like fighting games, or if there's going to be anything else that's going to be in the works, that I absolutely know about. Yeah. So
Okay. Cool. And speaking of the future of future games and whatnot, so where do you see or hope SNK to be in the next few years? I mean, obviously we're witnessing
man,
kind of like the comeback of SNK, like after all that went
yeah.
through, and it's just been, maybe people are hoping we're hoping that we're gonna get like 2 3 games per year, but it's getting to that point where we're definitely getting more titles, and SNK has a better presence that it had a few years back. So what can you tell us? Like, what do you hope? Where do you see SNK going in the future?
Well, it's SNK was a giant back in the 90s. Um, and it's tough because the people back then are a lot older now. People my generation are a lot older now. They have families, they're growing up. Um, but we were like, in terms of like the arcade scene and fighting games, we were like number one, for a good while. Um, But as you guys know, there was a bit of a hiatus that we went through. There's a bit of a hibernation period, if you will, and we did have to take a rest for a good amount of time. And unfortunately, the world moved on, and other companies they didn't stop just because we stopped. They kept producing games and creating IPs while SNK took a nap. And so now we're just coming out of it. We're just coming out of that nap with, when we did, was it 94 or sorry, excuse me, 14. King of Fighters 14 is one of the games we were like, hey, we're back. And we're just slowly working our way and getting back and kind of getting to grips and how the games industry is changing, how we're able to adapt, how we're able to create and create a space for ourselves in that scene. So eventually, I would love to see SNK, expand. I would love to see an SNK, of America. I think that'd be great. Or even expanding maybe even to like the Latin America, be awesome. So that's where I'm looking forward to. I hope that SNK, if we're on a good trajectory and we're able to make games that people want, and even, God willing, create new IPs. Because that's something you don't really see. SNK has been kind of relying on a lot of its older IPs, which is good. It's really good. It's why Samurai Showdown got a new title. It's why King of Fighters 15 is even happening. But it would be cool to see maybe some of their creative talent be put into making a newer IP, something that it's for the newer generation of SNK. So who's to say? I really can't. I have no idea what's going to happen. But the fact that I'm going to be even present in those meetings when it does, it really fills my heart with a lot of anticipation and joy to be a part of this growing of this company. It's just kind of coming out of this chrysalis, it's growing and it's starting to, I don't know where it's going to go. It could be anything. It could grow into something really big. So that's kind of why I'm here. And my vision is growing that with the community going forward, because you guys have stuck by us, man. Even when we were just focusing on, pachinko, you guys were still there playing our games. And, we owe it all to you guys. So that's what I hope to do, is create and foster this communication and this relationship between the company and the user, and as we can grow together. So I don't know what's it's going to be in 20, 30 years from now, but I'm planning to stick around until then. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be there waiting as well. So we've SNK is really speaking about myself. It was a huge part of my childhood. I grew up during the arcade days, so it was a huge thing, and I'm really happy to see where it's heading right now and how it's adapting to the modern world, really.
Yeah, it's and of course the people that, my bosses, they were 20, 30, during that time. So they were, going through that period in SNK's history where it's just when you were the number one, in the world for arcades and arcade manufacturing and video games, just number one, couldn't beat it. And they experienced that and they put that drive in there, and you still have those same people here today working there. So Soeda-san is the most passionate person I've ever met, and so he's like laser focused. And so you have these Oda-san and also Kuroki-san, there's just so many others, people that you're working with, these people that have been through that, and that they're still here, and that I'm even able to be on the same floor as them is just astounding. And so with a team like that, I'm very confident that we're back. So we're gonna have some good stuff on the way. So definitely look forward to that.
I'm glad you guys are back again. Thank you so much, Krispy Kaiser, for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And again, as I said in the beginning, you're doing a fantastic job with representing us fans and creating that bridge between fans and the developer, which a lot of companies are not doing properly. So again, thank you so much for your hard work, and thanks for being there for us.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, the thanks is all here, man, because you guys have been really understanding. I'm someone who didn't really know fighting games that much, but from day one, you guys haven't said anything bad about me or oh, this guy sucks, get him out of here. And that was one of the things I was really worried at. Like, but I came in bearing it all. I said, I don't know video games. Let's take this one day at a time. And the community was really supportive. So really, the thanks is from me. You know, that you guys have just been really awesome throughout this entire year. And yeah, I'm looking forward to many more. So guys, thank you again for having me. This has been a great opportunity. So I'm super happy, and have a great night, guys. Be safe, stay at home. Don't do anything crazy. Play some games and just hang out. And thanks again, guys, for supporting SNK. I appreciate you all.
Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Krispy Kaiser does some great streaming. There's going to be a link in the description to his Twitch channel, so make sure to check that out. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.